Joseph makes himself known to his brothers. 45 of Genesis in the video section, more than 3 minutes, commenting as I go because I need more time. And now I'm at the chapter 45 of Genesis from the beginning of the Bible. I started 45 of Genesis. Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all his attendants, and he cried out, have everyone leave my presence. So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, like he was mourning of a child. And Pharaoh's household heard about it. Joseph, be careful what you say, a bird of feather carry away. Well, he said it in his moaning, his crying out. Verse 3, Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? But his brothers, can you imagine the astonishment, were not able to answer him, completely dumbfounded in awe, because they were terrified at his presence and worried about what's going to happen to them. But it's starting putting two together, but they're still worried they're going to die. Then Joseph said, for what they did to him, to his brothers, come close to me. When they had done so, he said, I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And they knew right then. They start looking at him and realize, well, it's been a while, but they knew right then, he knew that something's up. 5, and now do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now there has been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years there will not be plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by great deliverance. So then, it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household and ruler of all Egypt. Now hurry back to my father and say to him, this is what your son Joseph says, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, don't delay. You shall live in the region of Goshen and be near me, you and your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds and all you have. I will provide for you there, because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise, you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute. And his brothers had to tell the father what happened, I imagine, that they saw them, right? Everything comes back on you in life. You reap what you sow. You can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, his full brother, that it is really I who am speaking to you. They realized by everything he said and knew, and by looking closer at him, to tell my father about all the honor accorded me in Egypt, and about everything you have seen, and bring my father down here quickly. Then he threw his arms around his brother Benjamin, his full blood brother from Rachel, and wept. And Benjamin, he was young, when you're young, you're different, and you're not so emotional. Benjamin embraced him, weeping while he wept too, because he thought his brother was dead too. I mean, it was a big thing. It's like he come back to life. Verse 15, and he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. Afterward, his brothers talked with him. They probably asked for forgiveness for selling him into Egypt and for wanting to kill him. When the news reached Pharaoh's palace that Joseph's brothers had come, Pharaoh and all his officials were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers, do this. Load your animals and return to the land of Canaan, and bring your father and your families back to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you can enjoy the fat of the land. You are also directed to tell them, do this, take some carts from Egypt for your children and your wives, and get your father and come. Never mind about your belongings, because the best of all of Egypt will be yours. So the sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them carts, and as Pharaoh had commanded, and he also gave them provisions for their journey. I'll just stop it there. Now they probably wondered, Jacob, who is Israel, probably wondered, hey, I thought God promised to my grandfather Abraham was going to give me this land, and my father Isaac. So he was wondering what's going on. And again, as Paul said, the biggest thing why the Old Testament is a peculiar nation, this was an example. Remember the example of leaving Egypt, like us leaving sin, them leaving Egypt? The Apostle Paul, pretty sure my memory made that comparison. Verse 22. Verse 22, to each of them he gave new clothing, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 sets of clothes. And this is what he said to his father 5 times. 10 donkeys loaded with the best, that's what he said to his father, things of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other provisions for this journey. Well, I can hardly, anyhow. Then he sent his brothers away, and as they were leaving, he said to them, "Don't quarrel on the way." So they went up out of Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. They told him, "Joseph is still alive. In fact, he is the ruler of Egypt." Jacob was stunned. I can imagine. Boy, oh boy, it's like a resurrection from the dead. They had to tell him again what they did, not believe them. But when they told him everything Joseph said to them, and when he saw the carts Joseph had sent to carry him back, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. And Israel said, hang on, a niche, excuse me. And Israel said, "I'm convinced my son Joseph is still alive." He saw the nice carts, he knew, something was up. "I will go and see him before I die." That's the end of 45. Goodbye.